Good morning everyone. So guys, last time you have learned how to cut the patterns. I told you about the patterns and we were talking about the patterns. Yeah, the front, the shawl collar and the back patterns. We also have spoken about cutting the patterns. Okay, you have to cut two pieces of each pattern. See, this is my front and this is my collar. Yeah, collar, right? I'll mark it, and then every pattern is cut two pieces, right? Now the same patterns, all the same patterns you will have to cut for lining also, right? Choose your lining fabric. Yeah, other than the front shawl collar, right? The remaining you have to cut for your lining if you are giving full lining to the jacket. Now, and only to this pattern, as I told you earlier, I have my lining pattern. This is my lining, right? I'm giving lining to the full panel. Yeah, so this is my front, and what I have done, I have taken my lining in this color so that when I'm constructing you will understand the difference of how and where the seams are going on, right? So now the lining, because if it is a full garment, you will have to have two pieces of main shell and you will have to have two pieces of the lining, right? Yeah. Now when you talk about all this, I have also spoken about the seam allowance, right? So what we are doing, for all the pieces of lining you are giving seam allowance, which is only half an inch. Yeah, and the remaining side is half an inch, as we have spoken. I have marked the collar mark also. The same way when you talk about this. Yeah, now these are the pieces what I have cut, and I have already told you about your pocket, right? Your welt pocket. Remember, we have done this in the previous class. Now this pocket either you can do on a sample or on the, okay? And then this is the finish of the jacket. Okay, the collar part, the shawl collar part, this part is this, okay, when it comes like that. Yeah, right? And this is the front part, and I told you how to give seam allowances, right? See, and this is the edge. Okay, wherever you are having your collar, right? Your collar, where and the facing to the collar, only that area we are just giving half an inch seam allowance, at the hem, right? And the remaining also half an inch, as I told you, right? Neckline we will chop it later on. So guys, as we have spoken, we are having two layers. So let us start construction now. I have my center back. So first I am starting to construct from the center back. So what I'll do, I'll start stitching from here. Take my needle and thread. I'll take another color. Here, taking my needle and thread, I'll start stitching this. Yeah, I'm giving back stitch, guys, so that you also give back stitch if you don't have machine, so that this is stitching by hand, so that your garment is giving you a proper feel and fall. Yeah, as I started with my back, I said center back, right? Once you stitch the whole center back, what you have to do, every seam you construct every seam you have construct, you will have to open this and then open the seam allowance. Yes, open the seam allowance. Yeah, and then you crease it first and then iron the seam. Yeah, you will have to iron the seam, guys, very carefully, right? Only seam have to be ironed. See, then it falls and sits like this. So now whatever seam you are doing, whatever stitch you are doing, you will have to be very careful and you will have to stitch slight puff due to pattern, okay, but let that not come because of ironing. Yeah, I'm keeping this aside. And now I'm taking the next panel of the back. Yeah, and this is the side seam, right? You can mark your patterns. You can mark your patterns if you want. This is B1 back, center back. You can mark it as B2 as the side panel of back, and this is side seam, okay, back, right? So now guys, what I'm doing, I have two pieces of this, two layers. As I told you, to make the full garment you have to cut two layers of each, right? So this is the layer, right? One layer I'm attaching here and the second layer is coming over there. Clear, guys? Yeah, right? One layer, this layer is the side panel coming here and this layer is coming there, and I am starting to construct. Now guys, remember I made my notches, right? So when you are stitching it, you make sure that your notches are matching. Suppose this is notch 1 and this is notch 1, so notch 1 have to match notch 1. This is notch 2 and this is notch 2. Notch 2 have to match notch 2. So that's the reason why we are marking notches over there. So I'm stitching these panels, right? See, you will see a curve here because remove the dart. You have to be very careful when you are stitching the pieces. So what you can do, you can just do this, right? And then you match your notches. Yeah, see, this to that notch and then pin it, right? So no need to pin there, you pin a little aside so that when you are stitching you can remove, or you can notch there also, right? You can even give basting. Now see, this is another notch. Remember this notch, yeah, right here, and the notch there, see, notch 2. Yeah, you have to just mark this. So what is happening, there is a curve formation here. So when you are stitching, just stretch it little bit and adjust it, and then you will have to stitch till the end, right? So I'll have one more pin here, yeah, and then this and then that, right? Yeah, because you have done right pattern, and if it needs little stretch, doesn't matter, I'm matching the shoulders. You can stretch it and then do it, right? So this is how you are pinning it, and now you start construction, right? As usual, you do a knotting at the end and then start stitching. You can just draw your line there because it goes up, it will be stitched a little diagonal, you know it. Yeah, reverse and cut. Yeah, one of the panel is stitched here. Again the same thing, open the panel, open the seam allowances, stretch this properly and crease it, because this is poplin we are working on. We are not working on our actual woolen material for the jacket. It gets creased with the finger also, but the actual fabric will not. See, right? Have to iron. So every seam you are stitching will have to be ironed. Yeah. right? Now stitch the other side. Ayyo, I burnt my fabric. It's okay. Careful with the curves. Yeah, iron it carefully. So guys, my back is ready. Seam elements are flat opened. Yeah, and the same way you have to make your lining also, right? So this is shell fabric for lining. Two, you will have to do the same. Yeah, so guys, this is your shell fabric. I have done it. You make one more piece with the lining also, and you keep your lining and the shell fabric aside now for the back. Now coming to the front, these are your 2 layers of front. Yeah, right? So what will I do? I will first again the same thing as I have done with my back pattern. Okay, I will join the panels also. Yeah, so I keep it aside, and then this is my part, one part. Yeah, so, and this is the another part. So I'll join these two together, and I'll join these two together. Yeah, so let's start stitching this the same way as we have done, keeping in mind the notches, right? You have to set it. One panel I have stitched, and guys, because this is at the bust level, you can see that curve. Yeah, so here you can, because this is just a garment construction, you can just do this. Yeah, anyhow it will go inside the lining, or you don't do it actually, right? You just flatten it and iron it with a bundle there. Remember, we have made a small fabric bundle. Yeah, iron this, and then this, don't cut like this, don't cut like this. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, remember we had a bundle, you keep it on that. Yeah, curve it and then open the screen, don't cut this. Yeah, and mine is a small pattern, so obviously it will have a longer curve there and depth. Just iron it like this. Yeah, see, it will settle. So the same way, so one piece I have cut, see, right? One piece I have cut. Yeah, right? The second piece also I am stitching it, right? So what I said, don't cut this, let this overlap and get pressed. Now I am stitching the second layer. Second layer, don't get confused, is the second side, the other side. Yeah, the same thing, match it. Done. So now I have done both of them, the front panel. Okay, back I have kept aside. Now what I do for the front, what I'll do, I'll start bring it, this is the right side of front. Okay, one, and again one, and this is right side of front 2, right? So what will I do? I'll keep right side of front 1 on like this, and I'll keep the 2 on this like that. Yeah, getting me? Only I have placed right on right. See, front, and this is front. Yeah, right side of the front 1, right side of the front 2. Front 1, front 2, right? Place it there. And now guess what am I doing? Nothing. Leaving this aside, I'm just stitching the neckline here. This is back neckline. Yeah, so I'm stitching this. Hold it properly and then stitch the line. Yeah, very careful. If this is neater, your neckline and the collar fall will be neat. If you don't do neatly, your collar will not be a neater one. Right? I have stitched it. Now guys, if you open this, see, this is my neckline. Yeah, and this I have stitched. I'll just open it and crease the line, and I'll iron it. Similarly, this I'll keep it there, and now you bring your lining front. This is the facing of your neckline, right? So what I do, again, let us consider this as, okay, facing for collar 1, shape facing for 2, right? These two. Now what you have to do is, as you have done this, the same way you on right on this, you keep this collar like this, right on right, and then stitch this part. I'm stitching these two also. See? Now open the collar, open the seam allowances, crease the line and iron it. Yeah? See? Done. Yeah? So this is prepared. Now this is the facing, right? Shaped facing. So I have taken, because my piece is small, I have taken, see, you have to be very careful. Yeah? Fine. Yeah, I have taken this. Now this is my shell, right? This is my shell and this is my facing. Yeah, so what will I do? Keep my shell like that. Yes, right? And on that I'll match this. Now again, right side of shell, right side of facing. Main fabric, fabric, right? So now take this right side, on right side you place your collar. See here, and this side also, right? You just place it. Yeah, you can slash little bit there. Yeah, but wait, now you come over, done. See, yeah, till the other end, right? So now what you do, you match the notches, right? Yeah, yes, and start stitching on this. Yeah, see, this joint straight line. Keep going on. Yes, just till the end. If you remember this notch, okay, when you are attaching your lining, you will have to stitch here, right? This, the way we have stitched this part, remember? Yeah. So this is the facing, yani this is the part. That's the reason I have marked a notch mark here with a 1/2 inch seam allowance there. This side we are stitching till the end. Only here, when you are attaching lining there, you are stitching till there. Yes guys, so see, I have stitched the whole thing. Yeah, now, right, when you're attaching here, this part comes your lining. See, you have to cut one more lining, this part. Yeah, there, right, lining will come. So lining will also have a notch mark here with a seam allowance of 1/2 inch. Okay, now done. So what am I doing now? Open this, yeah, and then I will again crease the seam allowances and I will iron this. See, yeah, the same way on the other side also. Yes, Yeah, the whole thing you will iron it, right? Bell ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. So I am ironing it. Yeah, you iron it till the other end. So after ironing it flat, see, yeah, you iron the whole pattern. Yeah, you have to iron it very cleanly. Yeah, see. Yeah, and then this is the fold line, so it folds. You have your collar is roll is still here. You have a notch mark here, right? And check this, you have a notch mark here, right? So the collar will yes, here, right? The collar is like this. Yeah, see, yeah, and then it's like this, and see, this is your friend. Yeah, can you see your friend? Yes, this is your friend. I'm just showing you off, right? Now this is your back, so you are stitching the back and it goes like that, right? So now what I have to do is I'm stitching my back panels like that, right? Back to back. So now, as you know, right, this is your side seam front, side seam front, and this is your side seam front, both sides. So now what I do, okay, you can stitch this before stitching this, okay? I just wanted to show you that, so I have not stitched this, right? So now hold this. Now guys, if you remember, for the main body, for the main shell, okay, right, as per the sample we have stitched, you have, as per the sample we have stitched, you have 1.5 inch seam allowance, right? 1.5 inch seam allowance here also, and 1.5 inch seam allowance here also, okay? The only thing is here you have 1/2 inch seam allowance till wherever you have the facing, right? Yeah, so guys, the same way you will have to cut your lining also, which will be attached here. Yeah, so now I'm joining this, the side seam. So I stitched the side seams also, and then yeah, this is the jacket. Yeah, Now when you talk about, carefully see, what all are left is your shoulders and the neckline. So what I'll do now, I will attach the shoulder. When you talk about your shoulders, okay, keep this lining aside. I'm taking only this. This is my shoulder, right? And this is the panel I'm matching. And then if you see, this is the shoulder point, right? See, shoulder, shoulder. This is the shoulder and this is the shoulder point at the neck. So what I'm doing, I'll join all those lines now. Neckline to the shoulder, right? So start off. Take your thread and needle again. Yeah. Right. This is the shoulder part. Yeah. Yeah, guys, all the elements you have to stitch carefully, matching the seam allowances. Yeah, see the panel here, the panel there, right? Your panel have to match. Yeah, guys, this is a very crucial element. This is not formed there, right? You have to stitch carefully. See, done this, right? And I will also match that to this point. Yeah, I'll stitch till here only. I will not stitch go there till this point. Go there. Yeah, I'm checking my point not to cross, because unless and until it is done carefully, you will not get a proper fall there. Okay, because the fall of the collar depends upon the neckline and the construction of it, right? I have tacked it again. Now what will I do? Very carefully I'll rotate and then I'll bring it here. So in that case, what I can do is I can slash